Hello everyone, good morning. How are you today? It is a beautiful day outside. Oh, I'm so happy with the amazing day that we have been gifted. All right, so today we are making little fairy crafts. Of course, I love everything fairy related. I know all of you already know that, but it just makes me happy. So today I am sharing with you some fun little crafts. So here we have all your little pieces that are going to come in your kit. It's kind of hard to see, but we have some little pieces to make mushrooms and 4 little stars. Then you have your piece of brown paper, 2 little pieces of gray. This paper here is scored with these little fold lines in it. And then you have the card base here. It's kind of a thicker piece of cardstock. It's a thin weight chipboard, and then inside it says, "Have a magical day with the Lavinia fairies." Look how cool those fairy stamps are. Oh, I love them. Love, love, love. Okay, so here we go. All right, so the very first thing that we're going to do is you're going to want to take your 2 pieces of gray, and you're going to cut them into little pieces. Now, I got my scissors here. I recommend doing pieces that are kind of maybe about 1/2 inch wide, something like this, and that way you get the most out of your paper here. Of course, you can always cut them smaller, but I'm going to show you what we're going to do, and then that way, and I always recommend watching the video first, so then that way you kind of know what you're doing. So I'm going to cut those first, and then we're going to build the little doorway. So cut all these little strips out. All right. Okay. All right, so now on the front of my card base here, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take a pencil. Let's see if I can actually find my pencil today. I couldn't find it the other day. Oh my gosh. Oh, there we go. Found my pencil. Yay. All right, and I'm going to draw an archway for my door, okay? It can be whatever size you would like. You want to big or small. I want that to be just a little bit more even there. Okay. All right, so let me erase this top part. Okay, so here we have a doorway. Okay, so it looks like this, all right? So notice that there's about 1/2 inch here and about 1/2 inch on either side. Okay, that's important. Okay. So now what we're going to do is we're going to glue these on. And when I adhere these down, I'm going to go like this around the outside. And it's going to go off the edge of the paper. But what's important is that I know there's not glue on this yet, but I'm actually doing this on purpose so that you can kind of see how much space you're going to need between each of your little, these are stones in case you guys didn't figure that out. That's what we're mimicking here, stones on the little fairy door here. And so these are going to wrap all the way around the outside. And so you're going to want to, I'm going to want to match up the little edges so that they're kind of tight next to each other. And at the top here, they are going to kind of separate a little bit more, and that's okay. All right, and they are going to go off the page. I think I already said that, but that's okay. All right, so when we glue those down, it's going to look kind of something like that. And like I said, I recommend laying these down first so you kind of know how much space you need to give yourself. Okay. All right, so they're going to look something kind of like this. And you'll know you'll probably figure out that some of your little bricks are smaller and some of them are larger. So it's going to look something kind of like this when we glue it down, okay? Which I think is really, really cool. I know all those just moved on me, but that's all right. Okay, so I'm going to make this quick on myself because this glue, oh goodness, why are you clogged at the moment? Oh, that's not good. Do I have another one in here? I don't. Now I have a little picker on for somewhere. Sorry guys, you just have to bear with me. Well, apparently I have to unclog my glue, which I don't really ever have to do very often these days. You have got to be kidding me. Seriously. Seriously. No! Of all the times to do this, I have to pause this, you guys. Okay, sorry, I had to pause it for a second. Okay, I had to unclog my glue because although this hardly ever happens, the other night I left my lid off for quite a while, like a couple hours. And then I just put the glue back on. Okay, here we go. Let's try this again. So you guys had to wait around for me forever. All right, I'm just gonna put a thin layer of glue down here. All right, here we go. We'll stick these on. You don't need very much glue. And I'm actually gonna go all the way down to the bottom there. Okay. All right. so patient with me, you guys. Or you fast forward to right now, which that's the benefit of having a video. You can fast forward through the parts that you don't need. All right. So we're gonna stick those all on here. And you can go right up to the edge, and if you want to cover where your pencil marks are, you can, but you actually don't have to cover them up because we're going to cover them up in just a moment. Okay, I'm going to go all the way down the other side here. Oh, but you should have plenty to do this with. Got a little overzealous with the glue, but that's okay. The glue will dry clear. Okay, all right, so now we have this. Yes, so cool looking. Okay, so now what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna trim it. So once your little pieces have dried there, I'm gonna trim this around the edge right here, like so. And if you look down on it, that's the best way to really make sure. I just lost one. That you're not trimming too much. If you go like this, sometimes you can kind of overdo it, or you might accidentally cut into your brown paper there, your base. And then you're gonna do the same thing with the other side. All right, let me do one more here. Okay, so now we have this. Okay, now I actually want my this to be the whole card to be fairy door shaped, because I think that would be kind of fun. So I'm actually going to go ahead and finish this, and you might find that it's easier for you to cut the first page first and then fold it over and cut the underside, and so that's what I'm going to do here actually. Now I want to stick with the same kind of width as I kind of go up, which is about 1/2 inch. Now I'm only going to be cutting around only to right here, okay, so that there's that fold line still in the paper there, because it's a card, right? This was a card. And then I'm going to cut, then I'm going to fold this over. Now, I stamped your fairies, so you should have lots of space, and your fairies should not be being cut out at this time, okay? All right, so then you should be able to match that up and cut these around. Okay. So there we have our fairy door card. So cool. Okay, so now we're going to put in the fairy wood grain. Now these little gray pieces here, save those because we're going to need them for the next craft. I'm going to put my glue lid on so I don't have to unclog that again. That was frustrating. Okay, here we go. So now we're going to grab a black pen. I really like my Uniball black gel pens here. They write really nice. Okay, so I'm going to show you about how to draw wood grain. Okay, so first I'm going to draw the pencil line from earlier. I'm actually going to trace it. I'm going to go right over the top of it so that I can make sure to get my fairy door is really nice and obvious here. Okay, all right. And then I'm just going to draw kind of a squiggle line. It's not very good, and that's actually 3. I'm doing that on purpose. Kind of a squiggly line. All right, and then you're going to kind of match up next to it. I refer to this as Pangea, where it's kind of matching, and then I'm going to keep doing that. And Pangea is like that term meaning kind of like where like the world used to kind of all be like one, I guess, and then like over time it like separated. That's why like the continents don't really match up if you were to like trying to piece them together, and that's kind of my idea. And so what I've done that is I've kind of done these kind of lines that kind of match up, and then see how I do these kind of bigger kind of bloops and how the line kind of matches up kind of like this. And then on the inside I'm going to kind of add a couple of these other ones, and this is how I kind of create like a quick little wood grain. Okay, to see how it kind of did the inside one and then another one. All right, and then my next piece of wood grain is going to go around all of those. My next little piece, like that next line, okay? So it goes around all that. See how it doesn't match up perfect? I did that on purpose. I did that on purpose. That wasn't an accident. Okay, it was a kind of accident. All right, and then I can create these kind of knots in the wood, kind of by doing this. The little bloopers. I'm calling them bloopers. And then these little things on the inside, like so. Okay, so you're gonna kind of do that kind of idea, kind of all the way around the entire thing. All right. Just kind of show you as I go. And this is going to kind of create the idea of kind of a wood grain. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and finish that. And we did that side, and now we're going to do the other side. And if you want to do them all up and down, you can. I really like to put knots in the woods because I think it looks way cooler. That's just my personal opinion there. Whoops. Made a little bit of a mistake, but you know what? I'm okay with that. I'm okay with it. Sometimes wood grain is not perfect. And you know what? I can just put another little line in there and it's fine. See this line right here? Doesn't really match up perfect. See how it doesn't really end anywhere? That's okay. All right, here we go. All right. Okay. So now, once we get our little wood grain in here, and it's kind of perfect. Okay. All right. So we're gonna put something like this. Now, how cool does that look already from the distance? Oh, suddenly you have a wood grain and it looks amazing. All right, and then I'm gonna add a little doorknob here. I think I'm going to use the leftover from my other piece from this. So I'm gonna come back to the doorknob. We'll get there. All right, and then I gave you all these little pieces to make little mushrooms. And so, sorry, my hair is all over the place here. All right, so you get these little pieces that are white, and then we have the little pieces that are red. And because I had some feedback yesterday about having a piece of dark paper underneath it, I'm gonna put a piece of black here so you can see how I'm gonna put my little mushrooms together. Because I know from up there you guys can't really see. From way up there, you guys can't really see what I'm doing here. Okay, so you should have enough to make 6 little mushrooms. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Perfect. All right. My deluxe adhesive here. You can also, of course, decorate your little tops of your mushrooms. So in case you have like a white gel pen, or if you don't have a white gel pen, you can use a skewer with little dots of white acrylic paint. That also works great. And you can go ahead and just use your, if you do little dots of white acrylic paint, you can do them on the tops of your little bread mushrooms there. And so the mushroom tops and bottoms that I gave you should match up in a fun way. Hopefully they match up perfectly. Sorry if you get some tops and bottoms that are a little wonky or a little weird in height. Okay, so don't glue all your mushrooms onto the front of this card because you're going to need them for your other little fairy door, your other fairy door craft. Okay, so we're going to leave those and we're going to come back to your fairy door in just a moment because I'm going to go to the fairy box. Okay, so there are all these little score lines. Hope you guys can see those. All right, so there's this one, this one, this one, this one, and there's a little tab one here at the end. All right, you're gonna cut up these little tab pieces here. All right. And then these are gonna bend under like so. Okay, so you get something kind of looks like that. Okay, so now what we're going to do here, and then we're going to bend these in. Okay, so then that whole thing is going to kind of fold together like that. So this is little tabs. So we're going to put glue on the tab first, on this one. And we're going to fold that over and match that up. Okay. All right. Now, while this is flat right now, I'm going to take a moment to draw my next fairy door. So on this one, so this is where the tab glued over right here, that little spot on that side. I don't know if you guys can see that right here. So I'm going to do this on this side, so then that way there's no tab little seam on that side. So this is where I'm going to do this right here. And I'm going to draw a fairy door. Now I want this one, you think I want it to still open, and so I'm going to draw kind of a shape kind of like this. So we have, this is where my door is, and then we're going to do just like we did before where we're going to put the quote-unquote stones around the door. Okay, so we have our door in the middle like so, again leaving a little bit of space on either side for the little stones to go. And you may need to, you may find that you need to cut some of your stones so they're not so diagonal, or maybe you like that they're kind of diagonal shaped. You'll see what I'm talking about here. Some of these have a little bit of an angle because of earlier when we were cutting them. oops, like that. There we go. You can kind of see, or some of them are more straight. So you may have to kind of mix and match those a little bit to kind of see what's going to make sense for you. All right, I'm going to put this around the top here, and we're going to go ahead and glue these on. So you should have just enough little pieces here to make this work out great. Okay. And I'm actually going to use these little pieces that are kind of cut at an angle to kind of help kind of fill in that space from earlier. Remember how it was kind of weird along the top there? So now I'm going to kind of use these pieces to make sense. Okay. I might need to add a little bit of glue because my glue down here is drying a little bit. You can see why my glue gets clogged. The top gets clogged because I'm constantly setting that down with the lid off. Alright, and this is going to go along the top here and on this side. Oh, I'm going to need to trim this guy just a little bit. And he's going to tuck right in there. And one of these guys. Alright, okay. So now, once we have that, a little mini door. Gosh, guys, I love making these little fairy doors. All right, again, I'm going to trim this down by kind of looking down on it like so. Okay, and then the other side, same. All right, but see, the cool thing about this is that it's a little box. So if you're going to give a present to someone, you might want to not cut this next part out. However, for me, I want my little door to open. I like the idea of the little door opening here. So what I'm going to do here is I want my door to open. So along the bottom here, I wonder how do I want to do this here? I don't want to cut that out, but I want the door to open. So I'm going to trim, I think I'm going to trim in from this side. Sorry guys, you're watching me experiment as I go here, or watching me figure out my process here as I go, because I knew I want the door to open, but I don't want to cut it out. Okay, I'm going to trim the bottom of this, but that piece is still connected. All right, so you guys get to be involved in my process a little bit. Okay, so I cut in from the side here, I cut up to here, and now there's a fold line that's still attached on the inside here, so that way my little fairy door will open and close. Okay, all right, now I'm going to glue my box together. So we're going to fold these pieces in. We're going to glue all of these together like this. Okay, except we're going to make sure that these match up a little bit nicer. So we're going to glue the first ones in the middle are going to go in, and then we'll put some glue down. And then these are going to fold in next. Just realized I need to put glue on that extra little tab piece. Okay, so we're going to glue that down. You can hold this flat on your surface here so that it glues nice and flat. Okay, so now we're going to let that dry. Oh, I should have done my door wood grain first, but I did not. That's okay. I'm going to do that right now. This paper is sturdy enough. I can do that. And if it's not perfect, that's okay too. Okay, and we're going to do just like we did before. My Pangea thing. Bloop, bloop. Sorry, I'm going kind of quick because I know you guys are waiting for me. All right, so this is what we have here. Okay, with your little door that opens. Oh my gosh, this is so freaking cute. I just absolutely love it. And if your wood grain isn't perfect, I think I already said this, that's kind of okay. That's kind of the point. Wood grain isn't perfect. And you know what's also kind of cool is if you have two different thicknesses of pen, you can go in and do two different thicknesses of line. You can do like your thicker lines and then go back in and do thinner lines kind of in between a little bit. Oh, so cool. Okay. All right, my wood grain is not perfect. I went in between some of my thicker lines and added little skinny lines kind of in between there. All right, so now we have this. Okay. Okay, so now you have your little door. All right, so now this is your little circle piece here. All right, so normally when you're creating a circle topper, you cut out a quarter of the pie. We're not doing that. So don't cut out a quarter of the pie. I'm going to have you cut out, let's see, if that's a quarter of the pie, we're gonna do an eighth of a pie, which is just this much, okay? An eighth of the pie. Then you're going to kind of wrap like this. You can use Nuvo Deluxe adhesive, but honestly, I'm going to use hot glue for this purpose because I want this to glue very quickly and immediately. I'm just barely folding it over, and I'm going to hold that in place for probably about 8 seconds. Okay. All right. So now that's nice and strong, nice and sturdy, and it's not very big circle. When I did this earlier, I actually wanted to kind of play around with some different ideas. And so I had made one of these, which I liked, and it can sit on the top, and it's kind of round, which is kind of fun. So if you want kind of a round roof, you can leave it as is and then glue your little roof on. Or if you can sit it on top if you don't want it to, if you want to be able to put things inside. And I'm going to use a hot glue to put on the corners and glue that down. So when I did this earlier though, I liked the idea of it having kind of this cute shape. And it is adorable and actually sits a little bit better when it's that shape. Anyways, really, really cute. Oh my gosh, adorable. So I'm going to go ahead and do that what I did earlier. So I'm putting hot glue on all 4 of the corners here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, and 4. So you have a nice little dollop of hot glue. And then to get that shape, what you're going to do is I just folded it flat, and then I turned it and folded it flat again. Okay. Oh, my hot glue is drying. Gotta work quickly. Should have done this ahead of time, but I didn't. All right, I may need to apply more hot glue. Oh, maybe not. Didn't dry as fast as I thought it was going to. I almost burned myself. All right. And I'm actually going to need just a little bit more on this side here. All right. So what happened is my hot glue was so hot that it dripped down a little bit. So I'm going to actually recommend you do it this way. So you have your pieces, so if you look like this and you hold it upside down, you can stick hot glue in these little corners here, and here, and here. Probably saw the glue attached to my fingers there. So like so, and then you just press that in like that, and that will keep that in place. Okay. All right. Now we have our little fairy house. Oh my gosh, so cute. Absolutely adorable. And I'm realizing now that my seam for my roof is right on top. How goofy is that? Oh well. Okay, so now I'm going to use my little stars and my mushrooms to then decorate my little fairy doors. So I think it would be really fun. So I'm going to use the little triangle piece here to cut out a doorknob. I know it's not perfect, but you know what? Fairy doorknobs are not perfect. I'm going to cut a tiny little one. You know what's a really good trick for this? Hole punch. So you can cut a little doorknob. And maybe you want to cut out like a little lock and key. And if you want to do that, have fun. I'm not going to do that right now. But